sat here and articulated that you see potential here, yet when Dean is showing ovations toward you in a way that is more than friends, you're saying that's too much. So you're sending very mixed messages here.
I'm wondering if you're making excuses here.
This year, the experts are on smoke. They really are on smoke. And I'm happy that they were able to get, this guy Dean to change his mind, because there's no point in him continuing to fight for a relationship that's not working. Sarah knows it's not working, but she's buying time, hoping one of the couples will fall out and then she can recouple somebody else's husband. I've said this from the start, and I'm happy the experts really held her feet to the fire. I love these, commitment ceremonies, because they are giving what they're supposed to give. The experts are supposed to hold people accountable. If you're saying you like someone, then tell the truth. And I am happy that Maeve and Joe have outed themselves, because at the end of the day, they have made it seem like they were doing amazingly well. And I had the same criticism about Rebecca and Bailey. So the fact that we're able to see that things are not as rosy as people are making it out to be, they have personas that they're putting out for the experts. This happened in Married at First Sight USA, and it didn't end well. And I hope if these people are putting on performances for the cameras, they know that the masks are going to fall off at some point. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 10, Episode 17. So it's commitment ceremony, and I'm happy it's here because, some people need to be called out. Anyway, everybody's getting ready for the commitment ceremony. Everybody seems to be in a very good space. We actually even have Grace sort of making breakfast for Ashley and serving it to him in bed. This girl, her friends must have really called her out. And I think seeing his mom and sister, she's realized that, I might not be getting the edit that I want, or the sort of getting the outcome that I want at the end of the day. I think she knows this man is from money, and she stands to benefit by being married to him, because it's day and night from where she was calling him out for the slightest things to her serving him breakfast. But that's just me. Anyway, we have Lee and Leah. Lee and Leah, they're sort of, I don't understand. Lee needs to work on herself, and I'm happy the experts called her out, because for her to say that she's upset at Leah for bringing up that, Reese and Alicia were very good looking. And it's like, so what did you want her to say? People were asking questions. What else did you want her to say? Did you want her to describe their height or whatever? Yes, she could have talked about where they come from or what they do for a living, but at least, it's not that deep. They agreed to move on from that because apparently, this is what is causing them strife in their relationship. Talk about the devil, Reese and Lisha. Well, they are still in their feelings, because Reese feels some type of way about the incident that happened at the dinner party, because you had her sort of, her comments or her sort of fallout with him at the dinner party because he wouldn't hold her hand. So she kicked off and made such a big deal about it. Maybe the edits hid it, so he feels some type of way. I would say maybe he doesn't like her, but it seems he likes her because he's been physically intimate with her. He said he likes her, but I think there are certain things that she does that he doesn't like. And it's a matter of him sort of having conversations with her, and she also telling him what she doesn't want, and then them regulating each other to sort of be a better couple. Nellie and Stephen, they were hoping for a better commitment ceremony, because last week they were really dragged through the mud because of Stephen's foolishness. So they are hoping that this will be a better commitment ceremony. Nellie continues to say she wants assurance. This woman needs to love herself enough not to need other people to give her assurance. She needs to love herself, to have enough self-love, self-respect, to not expect that from somebody else. Because if she cannot give that to herself, how does she expect Stephen to accomplish that? I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm not saying he's the best man, but that's just me. Maeve and Joe, I'm happy Joe has said it, because it's always been something that you're sort of questioning, that something is not right with this couple, something is a bit off. So the fact that he did call it out, I'm happy for that, because he did speak about his granddad passing away, and he said he didn't tell anyone outside of Maeve because he didn't want to bring down the mood, around the couples. But at the same time, he feels that there are issues that they're having that they are not addressing as a couple. It seems like after she sort of set loose or let loose at the honeymoon, he is trying to avoid coming in contact with that Maeve, because she really went at him. And I think because of that, he doesn't want to provoke her and get the same reaction. This is why he's trying to avoid any confrontation. But unless you've seen that side of her, then you wouldn't understand. But the side that we saw when she had a back and forth with him for a misunderstanding at the honeymoon, I think is why he doesn't want to go down that road. But I'm happy that he's decided to bring it up to the experts. That way they have the experts, give them the tools to sort of navigate that and make sure that it's healthy. Dean and Sarah, well, they are always going to be Dean and Sarah because you have her sort of going on about she's disappointed there's no romantic connection. He's disappointed that things aren't moving. She continues to go on about this spark. I'm going to say it now and I'll continue to say it. Sarah came into the experiment, didn't like the man she was coupled up with, and was expecting an outcome similar to girls in previous seasons where they have managed to sort of latch themselves onto somebody else's husband. And I think this is what Sarah was expecting. The sad bit for her, even though the guys that are her type have come in, they haven't shown interest. One, they are more keen on the wives that they are matched with. And so now she's at an impasse. She's trying to hold on for as long as she can until somebody else picks up or says that they like her and she's not getting done. And this is what I think is why she continues to drag through this man through the mud, because there's no point in them continuing to stay. For her to say she's torn about her decision, she's not torn. She wants the clout that comes with being on TV, but she also wants to find her man, and she's hoping that one of these husbands' heads is going to turn. All the couples turn up for the commitment ceremony. Obviously, there's awkwardness because everyone is nervous. No one wants to be called out first. So everybody's just keeping their head down and hoping that they're going to be the last couple called out. So the experts started on a happy note. They started with Abigail and John. Abigail and John were asked about their wedding. They said it was initial attraction on site, and from there, they had an amazing honeymoon. And for Abigail, she's saying this man allows her to be herself, and that's all she wants from a connection. He says the same. They really seem to be in a very good space. They seem like a more mature couple as compared to some of the other couples. So they seem more mature and more reserved and sort of just content to be with the person that they're with. Am I surprised they both chose to stay? No, I'm not. Nobody should be surprised because they were always going to stay. So Leah and Lee, they are the next couple on the couch. Leah says, she she checked out this week. It sounds like she's more or less burnt out. So she's fed up of trying for someone who's not trying for her. So she has checked out. She said, she was called out on her comment about saying, she's fit. She says, we're very complimentary up north. It's not because we're being romantic, but that's who we are. And on her part, Lee says, she is trying to be analytical. She's trying to use her head and not her heart on most of these things, because in the past she's used her heart and that has left her vulnerable and people have taken advantage of her. I get it, I understand it. But at the same time, you're here to get married. Yes, allow your head to guide your heart, but still open your heart to see if this is your person. Because I don't see anything wrong with Leah. I don't know. Maybe she might be hiding it very well, but I think she makes a very good partner and she seems very stable. As much as she's, you have Lee saying she's not masked, but I think she possesses all the other qualities that this woman needs. So she has to make up her mind in regards, do I want something that works or do I want just to continue to go in circles? So hopefully the two of them both agree to stay. And I hope this means that there's going to be a turnaround. They're going to make all the changes that were recommended by the experts. Nellie and Stephen, they were asked about in-laws week. They said that Nellie says her siblings came. I don't remember us saying who came for Stephen, but Nellie says her siblings came and they were upset with Stephen because of, him swearing at her and, the fact that he left her while she was injured and wasn't there for her. She says she wants to see more actions. The problem with Nelly is this. I said it at my intro. I'm going to say it at the moment. If you cannot have enough strength or have self-love for yourself or self-care for yourself, how do you expect other people to do that for you? She continues to hammer this man and saying, I've been cheated on. I want someone to reassure me. I want to... If you were comfortable and confident in your own skin, you wouldn't need somebody else to make you feel that. You would know where you're being valued, where you're not being valued, and you'd protect yourself and you'd keep it stepping. Because at the end of the day, this man is showing that he's not there for you. He put on a persona for the honeymoon and the wedding, and now he's showing you his truer self. So it's up to you. Do you love yourself enough to stay, or do you love yourself enough to protect yourself and keep it stepping? I'm surprised they both chose to stay. I thought one of them was going to say, no, I want to leave. You had, Nelly be asked, do you feel like There are times where your feelings or experiences have been minimized. Paul asked her that. Or do you feel like there are times there is an issue and you bring it up and then he deflects? I love that Stephen at that moment tried to deflect and Paul kept calling him out, you're deflecting, you're deflecting, you're deflecting. And I was here for that because at the end of the day, people need to be called out. If not for your current relationship's benefit, for your future relationships benefit, because otherwise you're going to be on the same hamster wheel. So I'm happy that the experts were actually calling him out and telling him, where he's going wrong so that he can't turn around and say, nobody told me that I was wrong. The fact that Paul called him out and told him what he was doing and told him how he could change it, it's now up to Stephen to do the work. Next up was Rebecca and Bailey. They said they've been physically intimate. They're in a happy space. They feel like everything is going amazing. I feel like they're putting on a persona because they say they're well matched. I think they want to be the mommy and the daddy of the group. They said they have mini clashes, and the only mini clash that they brought up was because he was trying to tighten the insides of his t-shirt sleeve so that he looked a bit more buff. Do I think that's it? No. I feel like they have a persona that they're trying to portray. Yes, they like one another, but they're going to put on this persona for as long as they can until they get to the very end so that they get a great edit and they come out as mommy and daddy, because otherwise there is nothing else about the two of them that we know that leads us to believe that they're working very well as a couple. They both chose to stay. Anyone surprised? Class? No. Next up was April and Leo. April and Leo, for me, I said this in a couple of reviews and I'll say this again. Leo reminds me of Vincent. Vincent that is married to Brianna from Married at First Sight USA, in the sense that he really likes this girl and is really trying to put his best foot forward and is trying not to say or do anything that will put her off, because they were asked how was it on wedding day. They said it was an instant attraction. They were excited with the person that they've matched. They were happy on first sight. There is intimacy. But you have April say she wants a deeper connection. She wants this man to ask her questions. I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. The only way she can get this man to ask her questions is to turn off the cameras and do it in private. She doesn't need to do it in front of everyone. She needs to do it in private. That way he can be honest with her. I think he doesn't want to look stupid on camera. And I also think he doesn't want to sort of say anything that will give her the ick and she'll be put off. And this is why he's trying to avoid asking any questions. He said he's been single for a very long time. So maybe that's why he's struggling to be open and to have the conversation that she needs. She agreed with it, but then they're open to asking any question. So she wants to be asked any question. It doesn't matter how silly it is. Hopefully this doesn't backfire on him and then she says, oh, he's asking me stupid questions. But if she says she's open to it, I hope it works for the two of them. They both chose to stay. Am I surprised? No. They're attracted to one another. They're physically intimate. They really like that part. It's only the depth. So once they get over that, they should be cooking with gas. Next, we had Reese and Lisha. They were asked, how did you feel on first sight? Reese said he liked her on first sight. She looks stunning the moment she has her mouth closed. It's just when she opens her mouth and she starts going 100 miles an hour. I think that's what's off-putting for him. So he was asked, what happened on the honeymoon. He said we clashed. They did clash on the honeymoon. He was asked why. He said he felt she was moving too fast because I love that Paul actually honed it down and he said, how many days into the relationship did she ask you if, you were falling for her? And he said, 2 days. There's no justification for that. There's no excusing that because that's way, way too fast. She has come into this ready for marriage, but also at the same time, she needed a bit of therapy just to settle her down. Her family is saying she's hard work, and sadly, they haven't done her any favors by saying that. They spoke about the incident on the flight and how that was disrespectful towards one's partner. He said he felt disrespected. She was upset. She wanted her hand held, and he didn't hold her hand, so she kicked off because she felt as a husband, he should want her to hold his hand. And it's like, people should watch Married at First Sight from other countries before they come on. I remember Jeffy and Shanice, they're celebrating year 8, I think, if I'm not mistaken. She came in ready for marriage and she saw him as her husband from the moment they were pronounced husband and wife. And it was a struggle for him to catch up with her. But now they're cooking with gas. And I hope Reese and Lisha, once she can stabilize herself and sort of even out her anxieties that allow her to be too much, then they'll be fine. It's just a matter of them doing the work and sort of, finding out how they can sort of balance it out. They were asked, how do you feel about your partner at the moment? She said he doesn't feel as strong at the moment, but they have been stronger before, but not at the moment. On her part, she started crying. Lisha started crying. She said, I don't know what he isn't giving me the equal to what I'm giving him. And it's like, yes, you need to listen to yourself at times. You need to write it down if you can't listen to yourself. Write it down, read it out, and ask yourself. A girl asks a guy in 2 days, "Are you falling for me?" A guy she's never met before. What do you think? She'll realize that that was a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Anyway, they both chose to stay. Anyone surprised? No. Grace and Ashley were next on the couch. They were asked about in-laws week. They said in-laws week was amazing for them because Grace's friends came and his mother and sister came. So they were able to give her insight because she realized that whatever Ashley's been displaying to her, this is who he is, because her family were able to reassure her and say that is the man that he is. He comes across as a great guy. He might have some old-fashioned values, but still he's a great guy and he can work on those and he's open to working on it. The fact that he was reading a feminist book should be enough to tell you that he is willing to do the work. They seem to be in a very good space. The experts complimented the fact that they shared a case. Yes, and Grace now is actually sitting in closer to this man. He doesn't have to drag her in. And I think it's nothing to do with Ashley, because after they made their decision and they went to sit down, you had Kia try to give her a hug, and it was just her pushing her body with her hands kept tightly to herself towards him. As soon as he gave her the hug, she quickly moved away. So this is something that she recognizes, something that is now sort of known to the two of them, and they're trying to find a way to navigate that. What do I think about the two of them? I'm not surprised they chose to stay. I hope they're not like Rose and Thomas from last season, because I don't think my heart could handle them breaking up at the end. Next up, we had Julia, Ruth, and Divani. They say in-laws week was a roller coaster. Yes, it was. Because the problem that happened with Julia Rose and Divani is you had Julia Rose meet up with her friends, have whatever conversations she had with her friends, and prime them ready to attack once Divani came in. And Divani had the same with his cousin. The only difference was his cousin was more composed as compared to Julia Rose's friends. So I don't quite understand why we're in this space. They said, Julia Rose said the families weren't happy. Yes, they weren't happy. Her friends were going on what she said, and Divani's cousin was going on what her cousin said, and she had his back and was not going to back down. They were asked, is there any attraction? Divani said yes, he is attracted to his wife. Julia Ruth turned around and said he is an attractive man. They asked her, are you attracted to this man? Tell the truth. And she kept and ahhing and ahhing until eventually she said, no, I'm not attracted to him. I feel like Julia Ruth is playing a character. I feel like she wants to put on this persona of someone who was really not attracted to her husband and then turns around at the last minute and says she's attracted to him. Or she wants to leave there saying, oh, they matched me with a man that I didn't like. But I have a feeling that there's more going on. Given the little promo that we've seen, I have a feeling there's more going on with that connection that we're not seeing. So I can't wait to see exactly what is going on, because they might be doing way better than she's making it seem. And I think this is why the cousin asked, what is your intention, or what is your goal here? Why are you here? Because I can't wait to see exactly what happens there. Anyway, they both chose to stay. Am I surprised? No. Maeve and Joe were the next couple up on the couch. She said she's been holding back. She's not being her authentic self. He says he's been holding back just because he's trying to not rock the boat, it seems. He said, when his granddad passed away, he didn't want to bring the mood down, but he did tell Maeve that this is where we are. My granddad has passed away. I think whatever impression of her he got at the honeymoon, he's really enjoyed the good bits of her. So he's going with the good bits and trying to make sure that he doesn't get to see the negative bits, because we all saw how she lashed out, and now he's realized that he can't continue in this. And it must be, having family around that told him that you need to speak to the experts, you need to be honest, because at least they've decided to sort of open up and actually dissect what the problem is. He was told you need to be more open, and she was told, if you're feeling something or if there's something going on, be your honest self. I don't think they've seen that side of her, and I don't think if everybody else on the couch sees how she behaves at the honeymoon, I think their impression of her will be changed. Because she said, normally in Newcastle she is very loud, she's very opinionated, and so I don't think everybody gets how opinionated she is or how loud she is. And when they find out, they might not think so highly of her. They both chose to stay. Do I think it was a good idea? I think so. I think there is things they can do to work. I think it's a matter of regulating, because she says he allows her to be calm, or he helps her calm down. And maybe she needs to focus in onto that calm side now, given that they're in this situation. Davide and Kia. Davide and Kia, I think, are the other couple that's doing very well in the experiment. They seem very happy. I think having the conversation that they had in South Africa, where Davide called out the bad parts of Kia, I think Kia was willing to realize that this is an amazing guy. I really like him, and made the efforts to change. And maybe some of the other participants need to do the same thing, and they will find themselves in a happy space. They said in-laws week was good. His mom, well, Kia's mom came, and then Davide had friends come around, and they seemed to all appreciate that the two of them were very happy and at peace. So I love that for them. They both chose to stay. Anyone surprised? No. Sarah and Dean were the last couple up. And I think experts knew exactly what they were doing when they left them as the last couple up. So there is the issue that Sarah said there was no romantic connection, there was no spark, and there was never going to be, because they've been together for 3 weeks. You can't say she was treating him like a lapdog, whereby she gives him a little treat, he performs, and then she gives him another little treat. So he would hold her hand, and he would think they're doing well when she is not doing well at all. She must be confiding in other people, because Dean is saying I've put in a lot of effort, but I don't feel like she is reciprocating whatever I'm doing. He was asked by Mel, how do you feel about Dean making physical gestures? Well, she was asked, and she said, well, I think it's doing a bit too much. And it's like, what do you mean doing a bit too much? So you gave him this crumb and told him, okay, let's try physical affection and see if that helps. And now you're saying it's doing too much. It's because you don't like him. You don't like him. That's why you're doing that. She was asked, do you see a future where a connection will grow? She tried to sort of divert that and sort of, Sarah was there, as I said before, and I'll continue to say this. I don't know her personally, but this is just an opinion. I feel like Sarah came into the experiment wanting a partner, having an idea of a partner that she wanted. When she saw Dean, she realized that he was not it. Tried to get him to change, tried to get him in a few weeks to get tattoos and to exercise. He said no, that was not his jam. And because he said that, she then completely switched off and said, okay, I've decided that I'm going to, well, this is just an opinion. I feel like she's decided to stay because she wanted somebody else who was, or who matched what she wanted. So seeing Joe, he matched what she wanted, but Joe wasn't interested in her. So that was a no. And then seeing the other guys come into the experiment, I think she's always thought, I have a hope, I have a chance. And I feel like this is why she wanted an extra week, because she wanted to get to know the new husbands and see if there was a chance for her there. And sadly, the experts called her out, and I'm happy they called her out, and they decided to do it in front of everyone. Instead of taking them aside like what they did with Shauna last time, they actually sat them in the group and told them, yes, the two of you have written stay, but this is our reasoning. Now, what is your decision? And you didn't have to come to the conclusion that this is not working, it's not going anywhere. Even if he stays there for a year, it's never going to change. This is where they are, and this is where they stand. And so he then decided to leave, she decided to leave. And once they both decided to leave and they were leaving the couch, the reaction from the rest of the participants tells you how everybody felt about that situation. Because you had people like Ashley jumping over the couch to go and hug Dean. You had everybody surrounding Dean, and you'd have one or two people standing around Sarah, which tells you that people could tell that Sarah was playing this man, and she was just buying time to be on TV or to find her person or to get more clout. That's the impression that I get. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 16. Bye everyone.